Hello everyone, my name's David Owens. I'm the CEO of EVERYANGLE. I will move on to my next slide. So who are EVERYANGLE? We are a startup based in Dublin. We focus on building computer vision software applications, and we're aligned exclusively with Cisco, and specifically a Cisco business unit called Cisco Meraki, that some people may know of. And Meraki, their whole mission is around simplifying network IT. And around 3 years ago, they moved into the smart camera space. So what we do is we build advanced analytics applications that work exclusively for these Cisco Meraki MV, as they're called, smart cameras. They're called cameras, but probably better to think of them as IoT sensor devices, because while they include a camera, they also include other sensors like a lux light sensor, a microphone, Bluetooth radio, temperature gauge. So it's really, it's a mashup of computer vision and IoT. And what we do is we take a feed. Oh, I skipped ahead there and I shouldn't have. We take a feed of data from these different sensors, which we then process through our own proprietary computer vision machine learning algorithms to surface insights and information, which we present back to customers through a mixture of real-time alerts, business intelligence dashboards, which is why we're talking here today, as well as virtual assistants and integrations with other IoT devices and line of business applications. So why do we do this? Why is there even a market for this? Well, as opposed to getting into a nitty-gritty talking around kind of technical features and things like that, I find it's far more effective to frame things in terms of challenges that exist, pre-COVID, post-COVID, and what we can actually do about those. And this is very much tip of the iceberg, but to try and frame our mission and why we decided to start this venture. If you have a look in frontline staff, and this is just data from the UK for 2019, whether we're talking about retail, healthcare, there are an alarming number of physical assaults on frontline staff, and it is growing at equally quite an alarming rate year on year. If you also look at workplace accidents, generally speaking, everyone will know someone who had, or at least know somebody who's had some incident at work. It could be a minor injury, and any loss of life, of course, is too much. But one of the things that people sometimes don't often think about is actually, and it's not to be clinical about it, but the actual cost, the quantitative cost of that to business is huge. Generally speaking, if you have even a small workplace accident, certainly in manufacturing production, it can cause those to be shut down for long periods of time. And that's taken on, that idea around eliminating workplace accidents has taken on a whole new lease of life as well as regards infection control from COVID-19 and other scenarios that may present themselves. And then looking at the high street or brick and mortar retailers and hospitality providers and so on, even before COVID, they have been in a really, really challenging place, looking at annually growing 60,000 job losses per year. And the challenge as we see it there is, how can you help a brick and mortar retailer compete with a pure play online provider? It does strike me as a bit curious the way a teenager can open up a new online shop on something like Shopify selling t-shirts, and they know more about the profile and behavior of their customers than a brick and mortar retailer who's invested tens of millions of pounds. And that has just even become even more important following COVID lockdown, and it's anyone's guess as to how long that's going to be with us for as a way of life. So how do you go and cover off those challenges? It's, well, through a series of productized computer vision applications which don't require any custom software development, can be deployed within 3 minutes at scale globally, whether it's on one camera, 10,000 cameras. It's geographically close to where the customers are. So if we've got customers in the EU, we're deploying all of that infrastructure and all the applications in the cloud in the EU. If it's in the States, it's in the States. And the idea really here is that customers can just start consuming what is seen to be quite complex technology in terms of computer vision and just consume it instantly. Now, one of the key things about this, of course, is, and I mentioned here the different core elements that we deliver. And if we have a look in terms of why you would use real-time alerts versus dashboards, virtual assistants, this will become obvious as we have a look at a couple of different examples of applications that we deliver. If you're looking at some like health and safety application, threat detection application, you obviously need to get a real-time alert about that. You need to be notified in the moment. However, if you're looking at any form of aggregated analysis where you want to compare in retail stores, for example, what is footfall traffic like in one store versus another? What's the demographic breakdown of customers entering, age, gender, emotional state, to compare new pop-up stores or new locations with more legacy historic locations. And a key trend that we're seeing amongst retailers at the moment is the challenge they have around store divestment and understanding which stores they actually keep open and which ones they actually close. And that is a huge growth area at the moment. And at the moment, one of the challenges that a lot of retailers have is the only data they have at the moment is generally speaking transaction data out of point of sale. But because their footfall is massively down, what they're not sure around is, are they actually getting people in store and failing to convert, or are they not even getting those people in place in the first instance, in which case maybe they can't justify the rents that they're paying in certain locations. So a more data-driven approach to that is key, because getting that wrong is hugely costly for them. If they either run the risk of keeping a location open where they bleed money, or they close a location that was delivering healthy profit. So having a really powerful and granular way of presenting that information from a dashboard standpoint is essential. A couple of points around why have we partnered with Pan Intelligence? What was our need for business intelligence? I've probably touched on that a little bit. One of the key things for us as a startup is looking at how we scale technologically and how we scale from a human resource standpoint. And one of the things that we were really cognizant of was we did not want to create a business and a business model that would require us to employ lots and lots of people in relatively uninteresting and unfulfilling roles where we were using labor to solve an issue that really should be dealt with through automation. So having a programmatically scalable platform that we could use where we can just spin up new instances of a dashboard via API as we deploy applications was essential for us. Equally, being a startup, it's a question of you always have more ambition than you do money, and so it's about being able to make sure that we can scale out our costs as we scale out our growth. And one of the things I would say absolutely around Pan Intelligence from the get-go was a complete willingness just to find a way to make it work. They saw what we were about, what our vision and our mission was, bought into that incredibly, and have supported us in terms of a pricing model to support that, which has been fantastic. We're an AWS native company in terms of all of our tech stack, so that was essential, a really big important point for us as well, to find a partner who played in that same AWS space. And then I guess really the last 2 points here you can kind of combine into boiling it down to the people. That's one of the key things, whether we're looking commercially, technically, ultimately, you hear customers buy from people, but equally, if you look at true partnership where both sides are putting skin in the game, where they're both going above and beyond what is actually called for, and for that, I just like to call it Sandra and her team and say thanks. And there's a couple of people in particular, Josh, Ken, Alana, etc. It's almost kind of like an Oscar acceptance speech or something like that, and the music's going to start playing in a second. But I do just want to call that out and encourage everyone to make full use of those resources there, because they've been critical for us. So conscious of time, I'll just very quickly go through an example of some of the dashboards that we've built using Pan Intelligence. This is for our next generation footfall application. It's designed to count the number of people entering into a space or place, anonymously analyze for gender, age, emotional state. Think of that like a computer vision based net promoter score. Pan Intelligence has been key because we can compare multiple locations, drill down across time series. or our suspicious person detection application, which identifies any individual who's wearing any object that's concealing their face or carrying any obvious weapons. And again, the ability here to be able to go and segment this and drill down even on a per camera basis is really important. Our physical density controls application, which we brought out in response to the COVID-19 return to work challenge. What this does is takes a feed from multiple different cameras, stitches those images together, lets us count the number of people overall in a space without double or triple counting them. And what we do here is present this information where we're really, in a simple way, explaining to customers and their own end customers, here's how many people are in the space, here's the max occupancy, how are you actually approaching that, along with trend-based information. And what we've seen here is that this has been made available on mobile apps, intranets, websites, digital signage outside stores. The idea being that you don't have to have a security guard or retail associate or office member managing all of the entrances and exits out of a space or place. This can be done through automation. I won't spend much time on this, but just some use case, some case studies or some customers that we've deployed our applications to and who are consuming PAN intelligence dashboards. Peloton may be one of the most well-known examples, but there are others as well, which happy to speak about in further detail if anyone wants to do that offline. I think I've probably used up my allotted time, so I'll just close by saying thank you. And again, if there's any questions, I'll be sticking around and very happy to cover those off in the chat. Thank you very much.